In 1972, a wave of fear and uncertainty swept over Uganda as a sudden decree expelled over 80,000 people of Indian origin. Imagine a peaceful life, a thriving business, a sense of community, all nestled in the heart of Uganda. This was the reality for the Indian diaspora that had made Uganda their home for generations. They were an integral part of the fabric of Ugandan society, contributing significantly to its economy and cultural diversity. The Indian diaspora in Uganda was largely composed of Gujaratis and Punjabis who had migrated during the British colonial era. They had established themselves as traders, shopkeepers, and entrepreneurs, forming a significant part of the middle-class strata. Their shops and businesses dotted the landscape, from the bustling city centers to the quiet rural towns. They were the economic engine of the nation, contributing to its growth and prosperity. But their existence was not just economic. They were neighbors, friends, and colleagues, sharing meals, festivals, and life's ups and downs with the native Ugandans. They were a testament to the rich tapestry of multicultural coexistence. Enter the unpredictable landscape of political change. In 1971, a military coup brought Idi Amin, a man of unpredictable temperament and extreme views, to power. His government was marked by human rights abuses, political repression, and corruption. But no one could have predicted the drastic turn of events that awaited the Indian community. The Indian diaspora, who had once been the backbone of Uganda's economy, soon found themselves at the receiving end of Amin's radical policies. The peaceful life they had known was about to be abruptly disrupted. But the tranquility was not to last as the winds of change began to blow. With the rise of Idi Amin to power, the fate of the Indian community in Uganda took a drastic turn. Idi Amin, a military man with a charismatic personality, seized power in a coup in January 1971, and his reign would change the course of Uganda's history forever. The political climate under Amin was one of fear and uncertainty. He ruled with an iron fist, often resorting to violence and intimidation to suppress dissent. But the Indian community, which had been a vibrant part of Ugandan society for over a century, was about to face a far harsher fate. Amin's decision to expel the Indian community was rooted in his nationalization policies. He aimed to redistribute wealth and resources, which were disproportionately controlled by the Indian community, to native Ugandans. Amin argued that the Indians, despite living and working in Uganda for generations, were not true Ugandans and were exploiting the country's resources. However, this was not the entire story. Amin's motivations also had a personal dimension. He held a grudge against the Indian community, feeling that they had treated him unfairly during his time in the military. This resentment, combined with his desire to consolidate power and create a homogeneous Ugandan identity, led to the expulsion of the Indian community. On August 4, 1972, Amin declared that he had had a dream in which God had ordered him to expel the Indian community. He gave them 90 days to leave the country, stripping them of their businesses, homes, and possessions. It was a move that shocked the world and devastated the Indian community. Life as they knew it was uprooted overnight. Families were torn apart, their life's work was taken away, and they were forced to start anew in unfamiliar lands. It was a traumatic experience, one that left deep scars on the psyche of the Indian diaspora. In just 90 days, a thriving community was reduced to a memory. The expulsion of the Indian community from Uganda was a chapter in history that serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of prejudice and intolerance. The departure of the Indian community left a gaping hole in Uganda's economy. The Indian diaspora, having been in Uganda for generations, had become an integral part of the country's economic fabric. Their businesses ranged from small retail shops to large-scale industries, contributing significantly to the nation's revenue and employment rates. The Indian community was particularly dominant in the business and industrial sectors, playing a crucial role in Uganda's economic growth and development. Their entrepreneurial spirit, coupled with their knack for trading and commerce, had led to the creation of a thriving business ecosystem. When Idi Amin ordered their expulsion, this system was abruptly dismantled. With the Indians gone, many businesses were left leaderless, and the economy suffered. The government's attempts to redistribute these businesses to the indigenous Ugandan population were largely unsuccessful. Many Ugandans lacked the necessary experience and skills to run these operations effectively, leading to a sharp decline in productivity and profitability. Moreover, the expulsion sparked a wave of economic instability. As businesses shut down and unemployment rates rose, the country's GDP took a nosedive. Uganda, once considered a promising economy in East Africa, was now grappling with a severe economic crisis. The banking sector, too, was severely hit. A significant portion of the banking industry was controlled by Indians, and their expulsion led to a liquidity crunch. The sudden withdrawal of capital led to a sharp rise in inflation, further exacerbating the economic crisis. Trade relations with other countries were also affected. Many nations, particularly India, imposed sanctions on Uganda, further hampering its economic growth. The expulsion had not just disrupted Uganda's internal economy, but had also dealt a blow to its international economic relations. In the years that followed, Uganda's economy struggled to recover from the shock of the expulsion. The lack of skilled labor, coupled with the loss of capital and trade relations, had a profound impact on the country's economic health. The expulsion had far-reaching consequences, sending Uganda's economy into a tailspin. The economic vacuum left by the Indian community would take years to fill, underscoring the significant role they played in Uganda's economy. The world watched in shock as tens of thousands were forced to leave their homes. Suddenly, the world was witnessing a mass exodus that was as unexpected as it was unprecedented. The expulsion of Ugandan Asians, predominantly of Indian origin, was met with a cacophony of reactions from the international community. Countries near and far were taken aback by the severity of Amin's decree. The global media was ablaze with stories of dispossessed families, their lives uprooted overnight. The expulsion wasn't just an internal affair of Uganda, it was a human rights issue that echoed across continents. Britain, despite initially resisting, took in the majority of the expelled, a whopping 27,000, given its historical ties with Uganda. This was not without its own set of challenges and controversies. The sudden influx of a large immigrant population into the UK led to tensions and debates about immigration policies, but it also enriched the multicultural fabric of British society. Canada, the United States, and Australia, known for their immigrant-friendly policies, also opened their doors to the expelled Ugandan Asians, offering them a chance to start anew. Scandinavia, too, stepped up, with Sweden and Norway providing refuge to a significant number of expelled Indians. India, the ancestral homeland of the expelled, found itself in a precarious position. Despite its initial hesitation, due to its own political and social challenges, India did eventually provide refuge to a few thousand of the expelled. And as for Amin's Uganda, the world's reaction was a mix of shock, condemnation, and diplomatic isolation. Countries severed ties, international aid was cut off, and Uganda found itself increasingly isolated on the global stage. But amidst the international outrage, one thing was clear. The world had stepped up to help a displaced community in need. Countries had opened their doors, communities had opened their hearts, and the expelled Ugandan Asians had found new homes across the globe. While the world reacted with outrage and sympathy, the expelled Indians were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. In the years following the expulsion, Uganda underwent significant changes. The nation grappled with the void left by the Indian community, their absence felt in the economy and the social fabric of the country. But as the dust settled, new narratives began to emerge. The Idi Amin regime eventually fell, giving way to a new era under the leadership of Yoweri Museveni. With the change in government came a shift in policy. Museveni, recognizing the value that the Indian diaspora had brought to Uganda, extended an invitation for their return. And so, they began to trickle back. Some returned to the businesses they had left behind, while others started anew. Slowly but surely, they began to rebuild their lives, their communities, and their contributions to the Ugandan economy. Today, the Indian diaspora in Uganda is a vibrant and integral part of the country. They have established successful businesses, contributing significantly to the nation's economy. They have rebuilt their temples, their schools, and their places of community, re-establishing the cultural richness they once brought to the Ugandan landscape. But the journey has not been easy. The returnees, many of whom are second or third generation Ugandans of Indian descent, have had to navigate the complexities of identity and belonging. They have had to reconcile the pain of their past with their hope for the future. Yet they have persevered. They have shown resilience in the face of adversity, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. They have turned the pages of a dark chapter in their history and written a new story of resilience and renewal. The expulsion of the Indian community from Uganda during the Idi Amin regime was a dark period in the nation's history. But from this darkness, light has emerged. The return of the Indian diaspora and their ongoing contributions to Uganda are proof that even in the face of adversity, resilience and hope can prevail. Today, the Indian community in Uganda continues to rebuild, their history a testament to resilience in the face of adversity.